next startup showcase, I guess for full disclosure, I should note, is a company that I helped start. So Neil and Dalal, who are both people that I got to know when they were students at Carnegie Mellon, have started a company called Extovate. I am involved in the company as well, but again, I'm going to have them present so that it's not me selling you on this, but it's a startup that I'm quite excited about. The concept behind Extovate is that this is a tool to help people with their external innovation market scans. And so, Neil, I will hand it over to you to walk people through this. I will say some of you may remember Neil from the first Corporate Entrepreneurship Forum. Neil at the time had just had a book come out called Startup Goldmine. And so he came in and talked a bit about his book, but today he's going to be walking through, again, this company that I'm helping him get started called Extovate. Neil, take it away.
Yeah, it's great to be back at CSL. Thanks, Sean, for the great intro. So yeah, today we're going to share a company that we've started called Extovate. So taking a quick step back, for those of you who don't know my background, I spent several years actually starting and then running a lot of the external innovation operations at Estee Lauder. So at the time, Estee Lauder didn't have their own external innovation group. There was a lot of ad hoc stuff going on, kind of like what Alex was describing, that every company is kind of doing this. But at the time, nothing was formalized. And what I found is at Estee Lauder, we would spend a lot of time just running around and not really doing a sort of top-down approach of looking at different areas that are of interest to us. Those areas could have been identified by brands, by strategy, by different areas within the corporation. And we never took the time to really do like, okay, what is the activity going on in each of these spaces? And when I say activity, I'm talking corporate activity, I'm talking fundraising activity, so venture capital, startup formation, research, and that would kind of fell to me in that external innovation role to go run those myself. And if you do them yourself, if you've done them, you probably found they take a lot of time. And there always are, of course, service providers and consultants you can reach out to, but the cost ends up becoming quite an issue for those. So Extovate is kind of something we've identified this gap and honestly trying to scratch my own itch here of a product that I would have really greatly benefited from when I was in that external innovation role. So diving into it, the market gap that Extovate has identified and is working to solve is that as that external innovation person, you can either look at off-the-shelf reports. So these are not customized. These are things that Gartner puts out or other companies put out that are essentially market overviews of, hey, here's what's going on in self-driving cars. Here's what's going on in supply chain innovation. And those are helpful. There's no doubt about it, but it doesn't quite solve the exact problem that a company is dealing with. As many of you probably know, technology areas that you're looking to solve for as a corporate innovator are often specific to your company. And honestly, there aren't tons and tons of other companies with that exact same gap. Maybe there's a few others, but it's not like you're going to find the exact solution in an off-the-shelf report. Now, there are customized, long drawn-out process type of reports that are done by consultants or larger consulting companies. Those have the issue of being very expensive, but more importantly, they take a lot of time. So, we've seen 90 days, we've seen 180-day type of turnaround, and the market moves incredibly fast, especially in the startup world. Something you identify today might not be relevant 90 days from now, or there might be a whole new development 90 days from now. So we find these long drawn out static reports aren't really solving the problem. What Extovate does is steps into that middle of those two gaps there. So we work on giving you a very quick view of markets that you might be interested in or technology areas that you might be interested in, but that are custom and help you solve your specific goal. So what that means is, if you have an area that you're looking to solve, rather than paying a consultant for 90 or 100 days or 180 days to go and look for a solution for you, or at least do a market scan for you, we do that a very similar process in a tech-enabled way. So leveraging databases and other technology that we're actually building at the moment, as well as human labor and our own sort of expertise in this area, to create a report for you. And that report can be in the form of a PDF or even a deck that you can use to present to the rest of your team in 3 weeks. So that we get the request, the report is created in 15 business days, and you have exactly what you're looking for. Your internal teams are incredibly busy with executing on innovation strategy and don't need to be spending all their time doing this research. So where we step in is we create that report, get handed off to you, and then let you run with it. So to clarify, we're not a consulting company that is kind of using these reports as a gateway into getting a larger consulting contract. We like doing the initial sort of market scan, startup scan, and handing that off to your team to go and execute. These reports, I should also mention, in addition to the time, are much more affordable because of our tech-enabled approach. You know, we're not talking 50 to 200K. Quite honestly, I've done these types of reports as a consultant, and you know, they're 20K, 30K type of requests because you're paying for somebody's time. Whereas in our case, there is of course a human component, but it is a fraction of the cost. And of course, the exact cost kind of depends on the type of report and what you're looking for, as well as the type of subscription that you're on. So we do have a subscription model, but it's in the order of about 3 to 5K a report. So you're really talking a small fraction of the report, of the cost of doing one of these reports. Also, to clarify, the stage at which Extovate lives is this discovery and scoping stage of the innovation funnel. There are other parts of the innovation funnel, as I think other speakers will be talking about today. So we don't actually help you build a solution. We don't help you test that solution. We're not building custom software, but we're really helping you with that top of the funnel so you can figure out how you want to go and play. And we'll get into some concrete examples here in a second. So some of the use cases that our existing customers have used Extovate for, and there's new ones every week, it seems like. We're still a very young company, so we're constantly identifying new uses of what we've built. But the most common is a market scan. A company is interested in a particular area. They want to understand growth rates. They want to understand regions that are important. Who are the key players? Are there investors that they need to be connecting with? That's a very common type of request that we do for a lot of different clients. Tech partnerships is kind of probably number two. There's an existing need or problem area that the company has had difficulty finding an internal solution for, or has had difficulty finding a solution through their existing vendor network. And that's kind of a more kind of classic external innovation example where you're looking for a solution to this problem, perhaps from another industry, perhaps from an early stage startup. And that's the kind of thing we would help surface through an Extovate market scan. And then finally, investments. So we have some corporate venture capital groups that we work with who are looking for startups to invest in or even potentially acquire. And that's something that we can also help surface. So to clarify, all of these reports, as I mentioned, they're custom. So based on what you're looking for, whether that's a tech partnership, an investment, or something else, the companies that we would surface in that process are tailored to exactly what you're looking for. So to get a little bit more concrete, here are some of the examples of reports that we've done. Of course, you know, every report is private, so your custom report is never shared more broadly, but you can get some examples of how companies have used Extovate to this point in time. So that could be something where a health services company is looking to acquire a startup in the healthcare analytics space, and we surface targets for them. A utility company looking to partner with a legal tech company to improve the way that they handle their contracts. Another thing that we were able to help surface. A large consumer goods company looking at innovative cleaning practices or new technology that they can use in that area. Another example. So there's a bunch of these. Kind of the limit is only your imagination. So this is just a quick over, and I know the text is small, so you probably can't read the exact text, but just if you can see the titles, this will give you a little bit of a sense of what you can expect from an Extovate report. So we give you an executive summary so that you can very quickly see what that area is, what the highlights are, and we try to make that about 1 page so that your busy executives don't have to spend time reading a 25-page report. Then we get into the details and we go into a decent amount of detail with the market overview, the segments, the trends, regional insights. And then finally, the back half of the report is the startup ecosystem scan. So that's where we get into startups that are actually solving the problem that you're looking to solve for, or are at the right stage for investment based on what you're looking to do. We surface a variety of parameters for those startups. So of course, name, when they were founded, the focus areas, what they do, funding, number of employees, but also we get into who their investors are if we're able to find that, if they have investors. Are any of your competitors investing in those companies? We also have gotten into in the past customer data if that's public. So there's a lot of different things that we can do with the startup ecosystem search, depending on what exactly you're trying to solve. So in a nutshell, that is Extovate. There's a couple things I want to share with you that will help you get a better idea. So first, we've started a monthly deep dive series. So we commission our own research on areas that personally that Sean, I, or Dalal are finding interesting. And every month we do a new report on that. If you join our deep dive group, you get access to that report completely free. There's no cost. And then we'll even be highlighting some of those startups in a live or recorded session where you can actually connect with the startups that are surfaced in that report. And again, that's completely free. All you have to do to sign up is go to deepdive.extovate.com. There is a little bit of an application. It's just a few fields, basically just to make sure that you are a corporate innovator and not necessarily a service provider or maybe a startup trying to get access to that. So it's a very quick application. I believe it's like 5 fields, so it should be pretty straightforward. And last but not least, we'd love to share a sample report with you. So we have a bunch of examples we can share. I urge you to take the time, go through it, and you'll kind of see very quickly where Extovate can add value to your external innovation process and your innovation process overall. All you have to do to get that sample report is just email us at contact@extovate.com. And we'll get back to you with a few of the different options for those sample reports. That's it today. Hopefully we'll hear from you soon, and excited to talk about Extovate.
All right, thanks, Neil. And Neil and Dalal are going to be helping tomorrow. So I believe Lou mentioned this yesterday. We were originally doing 2 interactive boot camps. We actually had a scheduling conflict with the folks who are running the digital therapeutics. So we're just doing the boot camp tomorrow with Neil and Dalal around external innovation. But that'll be a chance to double click on that and go into even more details on some of these things. I've been really interested in this. How can large companies work with startups more effectively for a long time? This feels like this gap that Neil explained, the sort of formal reports and the consulting firms, feels like unnecessary friction connecting startups with big companies. And so beyond, I think this just being a good idea and a great opportunity for me to work with Neil and Dalal, it's also fun to be solving this problem of how companies can find more of these startups to work with. So
Sean, and actually I'll just add one last thing, is that one of the big goals with Extovate, like kind of zooming out, is to improve the cadence between startups and corporates. So startup time, Sean and I always joke that startup time is like dog years compared to human time for the corporates. And so you got to move a little bit faster to kind of work on their time. And that's part of what we're doing at Extovate, is to get you that next step of the funnel as quickly as possible. So, 3 weeks rather than half a year.